Hi guys, we're the Future Christchurch group. For our thesis, we all chose to work together to create a collective proposal for the future of Christchurch. Our aim from the start was to participate in the public debate shaping the city, and through our research and design proposals, bring out ideas that can inform the future of Christchurch. The starting point to our projects was to find the potential within the city's current crisis following the earthquakes. We were able to develop publicly informed designs where knowledge sharing was promoted through working collaboratively. Due to the large scope of the problem, a team-based approach was necessary to come up with a solution that encompasses the city as a whole, as well as addressing the finer details. We also extended our work beyond the academic realm, where our engagements with both the public and private sectors helped shape our design strategies. We believe that this publicly informed stream of collaborative work is crucial, as it acts as a platform to stimulate relevant design proposals. As previously mentioned, finding the potential within the city's current crisis was the starting point, and this was informed by a series of critiques made on the Christchurch City Council's Central Draft Plan, released earlier in August 2011. While it was the Council's mandate to focus solely on the CBD, it was limited in scope in that they didn't have the opportunity to consider the whole of Christchurch. In our project, we consider the entire Christchurch legal boundary and any factors affecting it. The Council draft plan overlooked the potential in the existing growth trends, particularly towards the western side of the city, which has only been further intensified following the earthquake events. Further, it was a singular and a top-down method of master planning. I guess this kind of conventional approach aims towards a one-off final end result, and therefore it kind of lacks the ability to adapt to change. As a response to the inflexible nature of this approach, we have proposed a bottom-up growth process that is both organic and able to adapt to ever-changing socio-economic demands. This way of working enables a city to evolve and adapt to change, making it resilient and dynamic rather than static and fixed. So, in response to the previously mentioned population shift, we are proposing the polycentric city model, which again addresses Christchurch as a whole. The final critique to the draft plan was that it lacked an economic strategy. In order to encourage urban growth, an understanding of the multifaceted nature of economics is needed to make use of all potential avenues. Thus, we structured our theses around 6 key economies shaping Christchurch. Based on these critiques, we have created a framework for the future development of the city. The emphasis of this framework was to allow for adaptability to change and growth, rather than a one-off end result. As a process, it derives urban and architectural proposals based on an understanding of economic potentials. It was important that we worked as a team, as these economies don't operate in isolation, but rather they're all linked. The way we divided the work was that each of us researched a specific economy, and while each of our projects can be read individually, it's when they come together that they form a collective strategy. So, we structured the year's work in 3 phases. From the economic research, we derived urban strategies, which then led to specific case studies at an architectural scale. And this arrangement can also be reflected in the layout of our boards.
The reason for the framework's emphasis on economic drivers is that urban redevelopment in any city is tied to economic growth. Without an understanding of this aspect, the rebuilt city will not progress successfully. Considering this point, 6 economic drivers within the city have been identified that can inform urban and architecture proposals. The following slides will highlight these 6 key economic issues in the city and the potential avenues for solutions. Firstly, the innovation economy identifies the decline of the labor-intensive manufacturing sector in Christchurch, and is of concern when this sector is the main source for employment within the city. The economic potential comes from fostering the growth of existing high-value sectors of innovation and creating new employment opportunities. This shifts the city towards producing knowledge-based commodities that contributes towards economic growth. The transportation economy identifies an issue with the city's existing car culture. The city has a ratio of 2.5 vehicles per household, making it the 4th highest ranked city for car ownership in the world. This leads to traffic inefficiencies and a high level of congestion. However, there's a potential to take advantage of the current car culture and transportation infrastructure by creating a multimodal transportation system. The shortcomings of the city's infrastructure network also extends beyond transportation and into the energy structure. The green economy identifies the lack of resilient energy structure in Christchurch, as the current energy grid is dependent on a centralized system and is susceptible to failures. By proposing a multi-level energy structure based on renewable technologies, Christchurch not only becomes more resilient, but will also be able to tap into the global market share of green technologies to stimulate more economic growth. The creative economy identifies that the current education system does not prepare students for high-skilled knowledge-based jobs, which was addressed earlier in the innovation economy. The current trend globally is the transition from relying on low-value manufacturing-based commodities to high-value creative outputs. In order to encourage the city's transition towards producing knowledge-based commodities, the provision of equal learning opportunity is crucial. The experience economy identifies the lack of events beyond singular locations and time periods. Providing events is crucial to maintain the quality of life in the city. By promoting Christchurch as an eventful city, there is an economic opportunity for creative urban renewal that attracts tourists, future residents, as well as investments. The housing economy identifies a mismatch between the existing housing stock and the demographic trends of the city. The trend is in favor of compact living arrangements rather than existing suburban houses. This creates an opportunity to introduce a housing solution which caters for this demographic trend. The hidden cost of suburban living is exposed through the economic argument for infill housing. There are links between the existing economies. However, as they currently stand, they are not enough to encourage urban growth. Our work in the form of urban architecture systems becomes the threads that could link these key economies. Common to each strategy is that they could each become catalysts for urban growth and will mutually support each other through the proposed framework for urban development.
Through the structure of our research, we have identified 6 potential economic drivers. These drivers link to the development of 6 respective strategies that shape the proposed framework of development. This framework connects the economic drivers to encourage the city's growth and recovery. The following slides will illustrate the 6 urban strategies and how they relate to each other. The innovation strategy addresses the decline in the manufacturing industry by proposing a redevelopment of Christchurch's historic rail line. This redevelopment aims to allow for the growth of knowledge-based industries in Christchurch. Knowledge-based industries require the input of the educated workforce. However, the rail corridor is currently acting as a barrier between the northern and southern parts of the city, where the educated workforce is currently located. Redeveloping this corridor can transform it into a point of attraction for the development of high-value businesses. Next, the transportation strategy will build up on this proposal by taking advantage of the rail corridor for commuter use. This is the start of a multimodal system which connects the growing western suburbs back to the CBD. Introducing a multimodal system will help reduce personal vehicle dependency. This can lead to the reclaiming of redundant car parking space for future developments within the proposed framework. The energy strategy takes advantage of the connection that the transportation strategy creates with the western suburbs. This will be done by building a prototype district for the implementation of renewable technologies. As part of the proposed 2030 Christchurch Zero Carbon Plan, the Green Zone aims to showcase how the shift to becoming zero carbon is both sustainable and economically sound. This prototype district will also start the implementation of a multi-level energy structure that leads to a more resilient Christchurch through the proposed Zero Carbon Energy Plan. The new shift in economic growth signaled by both the innovation and energy strategy requires the input of creative thinkers. The creation of these innovators are highly dependent on the availability of adequate learning systems and facilities. The creative economy aims to intervene with the lesser educated but growing areas beginning in the western suburbs to provide equal learning opportunities. And in order to attract and retain this new group of creative thinkers, it is necessary to maintain a desirable quality of life. This can be done by providing transitional events, which bring life back to the city. Vacant land and demolished sites that are scattered around Christchurch as a result of the earthquake are used for this purpose. By providing avenues for transitional events to occur, Christchurch can maintain its quality of life, which is crucial in order to retain and attract communities back to the city. Finally, in order to accommodate the growth of the previous economies, we need to provide a housing solution that fits the needs of different demographic groups. The housing strategy proposes a possible solution that takes into account the hidden costs associated to suburban living. It offers a choice for inner city living, by using an infill strategy that makes use of vacant central city land. There is a pressing need to consider the lack of Christchurch's current housing stock, as well as the shifting household and demographic trends. A strategy needs to be created to accommodate these changing demands. These 6 strategies form a framework of development. This acts as a connective strand which allows the different economic drivers to coexist and mutually benefit from each other. The next focus was to create architectural systems which affect this notion. The emphasis was on creating systems rather than one-off solutions that would act as catalysts that bring out the economic potentials within different parts of the city.
So as the urban proposals created a framework for development, the architecture applies the same principle of organic growth, where an architectural system is designed rather than a finite end result. The architecture would be able to adapt to change, which minimizes risk by allowing unpredictable changes to be incorporated as a part of the systematic solution. The innovation strategy proposes the revitalization of the city's industrial corridor, and the innovation precinct will serve as an anchor for this new development. The architecture solutions are tested first in a seed project before being fully implemented within the proposed redevelopment. And where successful, this system would continue to grow and occupy the area. The architecture system used is the dynamic land zoning strategy, which is based on the logic of cellular automata. This cellular automata system creates a balance between the 4 parameters of business, leisure, living, and learning, and creates an ideal environment for the ever-changing nature of innovation, in which businesses are able to grow and flourish. By employing the system for growth along the redevelopment of the industrial rail corridor, this will allow for a starting point for growth of high-value businesses in Christchurch. And by revitalizing the rail corridor, there is an opportunity to utilize the existing rail infrastructure for commuter use and connect the growing western suburbs to the CBD. To increase the efficiency within the proposed multimodal network, exchanges between the different modes of transport needs to be seamless. And in order to do so, a modular system of a typical tease section is manipulated to create 4 different typologies of interchanges that are designed to create a more efficient transportation experience. The language of the architecture becomes urban punctuations within the city and can be implemented efficiently throughout Christchurch. This signifies the change towards a new multimodal transportation system. A green zone is situated on the rail corridor and acts as a gathering point to efficiently connect the growing western population to the CBD. The green zone is a prototype district that tests out the zero carbon energy plan. The concept of morphogenesis is used within the green zone, where the architecture system learns from principles found in nature. The form of the building works together with its natural environment to create an optimal solution based on the parameters of wind flow, solar gain, natural daylight, and rainwater harvesting. The green zone is about living, breathing, building, and learning about green technology. This becomes a seed for a more sustainable zero-carbon future for the city of Christchurch, and proves that sustainability and economic growth can be mutually beneficial. The education strategy addresses the need to introduce a new generation of creative thinkers. This fuels the growth of the knowledge-based industries mentioned in previous strategies. This is done through providing equal learning opportunities, and is started through intervening with the growing but lesser educated western and eastern suburbs. The architecture system is based on the cellular topology to evaluate spatial qualities that create a conducive environment for creative learning. This is done through a modular system, which can be reconfigured and redistributed easily to different sites throughout Christchurch that are in need for intervention. This architectural system allows for a higher quality of education that can be spread throughout the city without regard to socio-economic status. This helps to introduce a new generation of creative thinkers, which is crucial to the success of a creative economy. The event strategy introduces the concept of decluttering, which aims to reduce the duplication of events in a singular location and time period. This creates a more active year-round events scheduled for Christchurch, which will help boost tourism and create a better quality of life. A modular system based on the Fibonacci sequence is used to rationalize the transitional nature of events. The transformative nature of this modular system will allow for different scales of program to be accommodated inexpensively and efficiently. This transitional architecture system provides a framework for the provision of different events of the city. In doing so, the city will be able to reintroduce life and vibrancy, which would retain and attract communities back to Christchurch. The housing proposal aims to provide a choice for living. It shows that there is a more economic choice other than the typical suburban house. 2 case studies are implemented for this purpose. The first within the CCDU proposed housing demonstration project, and the second in the green zone proposed by the energy strategy. The housing solution consists of a modular system that can be adapted and suit a range of demographics and lifestyles by breaking down the basic living units into different components. A recombination of these components makes it possible to address the different user groups more efficiently. By creating a parametric relationship between each unit, the growth of the system can be controlled to suit the future conditions. This system proves that adaptable infill housing is not only possible, but is more economical. Due to the efficiencies of prefabrication, you only need to develop what is needed through its highly personalized design. And with this adaptable housing system, units can be added or subtracted over time, and is key to overcome the current housing crisis. It was apparent in the early research process that economic growth cannot be addressed as a single entity. So in order to fully envision the future of the city, a consideration of the economy as a multifaceted structure was developed. These 6 architectural systems represented the intent of the design framework. It is to bring out the potential found in the different economic drivers in different parts of the city. The overview of the framework we have presented so far can be understood in more depth by going through our individual books.
In order to inform our project, we consulted existing and emerging initiatives in Christchurch. We found that there was a genuine interest and support for our work. We also found that there is a lack of communication between the different initiatives, and that our work acted as a medium for discussion and facilitated collaboration between these different disciplines. These are just a few of the initiatives we consulted. Our project has sparked further collaboration between these initiatives. An example of this is how the transportation strategy created a mobile application which generated a chain reaction of interest. Beginning at HitLab, while Coralie from Gapfiller pitched the idea to Take Communications, which then grabbed the interest of Bicycle Ventures, before finally sparking the interest of Oricon, alongside Christchurch City Council and Sarah. Together, we have formed a collective proposal which created a fertile environment for collaboration to happen. By facilitating this environment, we are enabling discussions between the academic and the public realm to occur. This has helped to inform realistic proposals for our project, and we hope this will inspire creative thinking. Another example of this is shown in the collaboration between the different art initiatives, which culminated in the Luxity event. This temporary night showcase was a platform for testing out a component within the event strategy. Luxity attracted more than 20,000 people back to the city centre in one night and illustrated the overwhelming public support for such initiatives. In addition to these 2 examples, the innovation strategy has engaged with EPIC, an emerging innovation campus. The education strategy has liaised with the Unlimited School. The energy strategy worked in collaboration with various energy bodies to develop a zero-carbon energy plan for the city. And the housing strategy has consulted with developers and prefabrication manufacturers to create a design framework for the CCDU housing demonstration project. Through engaging with these different networks, we have not only sparked creative conversations, but we have also been offered future job opportunities to continue to build on our existing body of work. As a group, we have experienced how a collection of small initiatives has indeed made a big difference to the community of Christchurch. This reflects the successful nature of a bottom-up approach and was evident in the reception we received in Christchurch, which surpassed all our expectations, particularly when we presented to the Christchurch City Council and to the public during the FESTA event, which is the Festival of Transitional Architecture event.
Our approach towards working collaboratively as a team has proven to be extremely successful. By capitalizing on each of our individual strengths, we each took on a unique role in the process. Through knowledge sharing and learning from each other, there was a strong synergy that is reflected in our work. The conclusion of this year and this project only represents the end of the beginning. We see it more as a potential to start a new lineage of publicly informed academic thinking. The work will be released in the third volume of the Future Christchurch publication and become a platform for Studio Christchurch, an initiative shared amongst various universities. The networks we have cultivated have also created the potential to develop our proposals further into careers following graduation. And through this new method of thinking, we're proposing an approach that creates discussions around solutions to today's problems by engaging with both academia and the public realm. And through this, building a platform for a multidisciplinary system of collaboration for the future of Christchurch. Thank you.